had to pick one of your senses to get rid of, which would you choose? Some might be inclined to say smell because they think it is insignificant, but that is simply not true. The sense of smell has many applications in our sensory world that make it noteworthy. There are ways in which medicine utilizes the sense of smell. For example, dogs can be trained to detect breast cancer through a breath sample. The sense of smell is also associated with the memories we have. Can you think of a certain smell that brings you back to a childhood memory? Smell is essential for detection of certain dangers, like the smell of smoke to indicate a fire, or the smell of rotten food to indicate you should not eat it. Also, the sense of smell is directly responsible for enhancing the flavor perception of foods. The retronasal pathway of smell is what causes us to perceive certain flavors. This happens when we chew food and exhale, sending scent molecules to be perceived. In recent events, damage to the retronasal pathway has been a potential source of many COVID-19 patients losing both their sense of smell and taste. On the other hand, orthonasal smelling is what people typically think of in relation to the sense of smell, where one sniffs through their nose to detect scents. Another aspect that makes smell fascinating is that in-depth research on the topic is relatively new. For example, scent molecule receptors, which are essential to understanding the physiological pathway of smell, were only discovered in 1991, less than 30 years ago. In order to fully appreciate the sense of smell, it is important to understand the physiological pathway the sense utilizes. What happens during the process of smelling a scent? Detecting smells does not actually happen in the nostrils. First, the scent molecule travels to the olfactory epithelium, which is a thin, highly specialized membrane located on the front portion of the bottom of the skull. There is a mucus layer in the nasal cavity protecting the olfactory epithelium that houses the olfactory neurons, which are responsible for detecting and transmitting odor information to the central nervous system. Molecules that you inhale need to pass through the mucus layer in order to make contact with the neurons. It is estimated that there are millions of these olfactory neurons.
Next, the odor molecule finally reaches the olfactory neuron and binds to receptors on its surface, which trigger certain proteins called G proteins to act as a switch and activate enzymes. If enough of these enzymes are activated, a wave of electric charge, called the action potential, is sent to the olfactory bulb. Odor receptor signals converge on the glomeruli, which are tiny spheres of nerve tissue located in the olfactory bulb that act as synapses connecting odor receptor cells to mitral, tufted, and periglomerular cells. This triggers signal processing to begin. Once a signal is processed, it is sent to the olfactory cortex, an area on the brain's cerebral cortex that receives sensory input from the olfactory bulb. This is where odor identification and differentiation between different odors takes place. Processed signals are also sent on to the limbic system, which contains the hypothalamus, hippocampus, and amygdala, which are organs that control the body's emotional response to stimulation as well as memory and motivation. This is where emotional context is formed for the odor, which helps the body determine how to respond to the stimulus. There's a lot that is still unknown about the sense of smell and how it works. However, research on olfaction is growing rapidly. The most current subject of olfactory research is anosmia caused by the impact of COVID-19 on the olfactory pathway. One potential explanation for this is inflammation that the COVID-19 virus causes in the olfactory bulb, its surrounding cells, and the olfactory epithelium, but the exact cause is still undetermined. This anosmia affects individuals differently, so some people may lose their sense of smell for a few days, and others these effects could last for months. This is another example of the complexity and individuality of the olfactory pathway and the constant new discoveries that are being made about the sense of smell.